glad to have with us today on Meet the Authors, Marion Bowman. Hello, Marion.
Hi, Philip. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for coming. So
Yes.
glad to have you on our show again. So, Marion, you're here to talk about your previous book and your new book, and we're so glad to have you. So, Sailing the Wind, show us the book.
Sailing into the Wind.
And tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, I was on the show before, and I had just written a book, and it was just published. And so since then, I now have a website, which is marionbowman.com, and I also have a separate Facebook page, which is Books by Marion Bowman. And I encourage you to go to both to find out more about the book. But to refresh your memory, since the last show, I thought maybe I would read one of my reviews. And actually, it's by Philip. Philip did the review for me.
I'm famous.
I know. And so look, you will recall a little bit about what the book is about, but I will read some more too. But this is what Philip said. It says, memoirs offer perspectives, or as Marion Bowman names them, doorways into different times. Miss Bowman description of her times in Saudi Arabia, the Ukraine, and across America brings to life times now changed. Written in a clear conversational style, Miss Bowman relates life changes common to Americans, especially women, including divorces, career moves, and family events. An enjoyable read, Sailing into the Wind creates images of a well-lived life.
It's so true. I loved your book. I loved reading about all the adventures you had and the places you've gone. You just bring everything so much to life. And particularly, I think we get so much literature and school and education from men's viewpoint. And to get your viewpoint, the women's viewpoint about divorce and about how you can be in charge of your own life, this book is really reassuring for that. And particularly with the second edition coming out and all the other places that you go.
And I also wanted to read a little bit in the beginning of the book. It's called My Sanctuary. It says, everyone needs a sanctuary place, a place to think and quiet. For me, it's the front porch, which has become a good friend. I wake up early in the morning, and the first thing I do is greet my porch. Even before opening all the blinds, the coffee begins to brew, and its aroma spreads quickly, diffused by the morning light that pours into the house. I often get a chance to watch the sun rise above the ocean's tide as it brings light to our world. Its early morning arrival brings a tone of hope to each day. Each day's beginning as I rock in my chair on my front porch. So often in this busy world, we forget to take the time to look at the sunrise, the sunset, the twinkling stars, or any many natural wonders that surrounds us each day. It's here on this porch, looking out to sea, that I feel at peace and spend quiet moments sitting in gratitude for God, for the life that God has given me throughout the years. How blessed I feel to be alive and to be in such a special place in my life. And I have to tell you, my daughter for Christmas was at my house, and so she had taken a picture of my front porch, and she had it enlarged, and she put that last part on the picture.
Oh.
And it's the front porch that I look for myself. It was a very, very special gift. So I really, really appreciate that.
I love that idea of a sanctuary.
Yes.
Yeah, and in my case, we call it a man's cave. But yeah, it's good
That's
to have
right.
a place where you can be by yourself and really get your own interests going. So this really is a lovely book, goes all over different places. And tell us, so you've been doing more traveling, and in your new book, you're going to be talking about some of the new places you've gone.
That's right. My new book, the working title of my new book is Traveling Off the Beaten Paths, because I've traveled all over the world, but I only want to talk about the places that are off the beaten path, basically. And my book kind of starts off a little bit like it says, traveling the path unknown has led me to many interesting places and people. I believe it is these adventures that have shaped my life. So I've chosen 10 places that have impacted my life, and among them are Vietnam, Belize, Bali, Cuba, Dubai, the Ukraine, Saudi Arabia, some interesting Club Med trips, and then actually I did a piece a few years ago. It isn't traveling to a place. It's called Sailing into the Fog, which is a sailing experience when we were caught into the fog, and how we managed to survive that, and make it an adventure. So I'm going to include that also in my book. But my question too, in my book, it says, can one find peace from traveling, or is it just another placebo that takes you out of your reality and puts you into a captivating world of other cultures?
That's a good question. I've done a lot of traveling myself.
Right.
And I can't say I do it much for peace. I do it for adventure. I do it for exposure to other cultures. People who never leave their home deal with the same people. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that people should never leave, should be considered improper never to leave your home. But I think when you get out and you see the world, it expands your own viewpoints. You realize that other people have lives just like ours and yet different as well. So tell me, I think the most interesting thing about that was the last one. I mean, the really interesting, Vietnam and Saudi Arabia and all those places are such different cultures. But being in a fog, I can just imagine feeling so lost and out of contact with any type of reality.
Well, it was about, maybe 8 years ago. I had a sailboat, a 32-foot Newport sailboat. And
You still have it?
No, I don't. I lost it in Katrina.
Oh.
I did lose it. But we decided to go for a Sunday sail, and it was kind of in the early spring or maybe winter it was. And we sailed around outside, out of the Pass Christian Yacht Club, and then it was getting kind of foggy out, so we decided we wanted to come in. And we didn't have really good electronics. I did have a GPS, and we managed to get close to the harbor. But then all of a sudden, we felt a thump, which meant that we had run aground.
Oh.
And so we decided, well, what should we do? So we tried to get out of that little predicament, but we couldn't. So we finally decided, well, we'll just drop anchor and wait for the tide to change and wait overnight. And of course, everybody's very anxious about the whole thing. Will we be able to get out of this, or will we have to be towed out? So it's how we spent the whole night waiting for the tide to change, and then so we could get out of that place and get into our harbor.
Yeah, that's a scary thought. You must have been in a lot of scary situations. People tell me that all the time when they travel. Oh, you're so brave. And I say, well, you can get hurt right here in town. So you just go and do the things you want to do and don't be afraid of being hurt. Of course, I wouldn't go into a war zone, but except for that, it'd be good. So what's the title of this new book?
It's called Traveling Off the Beaten Path.
And when do you anticipate having it pressed?
I'm hoping to finish it by the end of summer.
Okay.
And have it published by the fall. That's kind of my goal anyway. So it's been interesting writing, though. I just came back from Belize, actually. I had a big birthday there, and I had a lot of relatives there. So that was a really very interesting experience to go back to the place where I was born. I only lived in Belize till I was 7 years old, but I still have a lot of relatives there. And so my cousin decided to give me this big 80th birthday.
Oh, how wonderful.
And I had like 30 of my relatives, cousins there.
A destination birthday party in Belize, huh?
That's right. I did. But then, of course, when I came back, I had to go to California to have it with my family.
Have a repeat birthday party.
So
how you suffer.
I actually had 3 birthday parties during the month of March.
Oh,
so I call it my
birthday March.
Yes, exactly right. And so when I went to California, my daughter invited all my friends too. So I had 20 people at that. So I really had a good celebration of our birthday. So
I guess so.
Yes.
So 80 years old and been all around the world, and you're not sailing anymore, but you're still riding. And
well, I do go sailing, but I don't have a boat.
Oh, okay.
But I do have a friend that has a sailboat,
right.
And I still do sailing. I do sailing with him. As a matter of fact, I was doing racing last year still.
Wow.
So I still do sailing.
It's great to keep active all your life. Marion, we're so glad you could come and talk about your new book.
Thank you very much, Philip.
And one more thing. So where can they get this book?
Okay, it's on Amazon, and it's also at Barnes & Noble's. So,
all right. Show them the cover again.
It's called Sailing into the Wind by Marion Bowman.
All right. Thanks so much.